Hi, I'm Jacob from Go Industrial, and behind me is a newly commissioned state-of-the-art home-based refueling facility we've put together for Centurion Transport's new yard here in Richlands, Queensland. Many businesses and operations face many challenges controlling costs, fuel consumption, and minimising vehicle breakdowns. Today, we're going to answer your most frequently asked questions when it comes to the benefits of a home-based refueling facility like this, how our site team comes together to make commissioning seamless, and how we can supply a turnkey setup like this to control your costs and give you better transparency over your fuel. So what are the core components that go into a facility like this? At the heart of the project, we have our Go Industrial through our channel partners, CEA Petroleum, a self-bunded, containerised 110,000 litre diesel tank. We often call this our Con 110. Our containerised self-bunded tanks comply to Australian standards of AS1940, and in this case, when we have a creek and the nature very close by to the refueling site, we have the security of a tank within a tank. This is a benefit of a self-bunded solution. For whatever reason, if the outer tank is pierced or compromised in any way, the 110,000 litres of diesel is contained within the inner tank, which will avoid any type of diesel spill affecting the environment or waterways nearby. Being designed in a 40-foot containerised footprint, it marries up well with our concrete slab that we have here on site. It's also super effective to transport this to site, unload, and get ready to go through our fitting and commissioning process. Our containerised tanks all come with lockable pump bays, which is super handy. All of our fuel management systems, filtration, pumps, valving is stored away safely out of the environment, and being lockable, it also counters a big issue we have here in the fuel industry, which is fuel theft. On the exterior of the tank, we have lifting points, which these tanks can be unloaded by a crane or a side loader. To manoeuvre this into site, we had to use a couple of cranes, get it in place before we could start piping up the 316 stainless steel press fit pipework. At Go Industrial, through our channel partners CEA Petroleum, we only use the best of best components in our fueling systems. We'll have a dive through the tank and have a look at those now.
Hey, my name's Adam. I'm from Go Industrial. I'm one of the site electricians. So out at Centurion, we've got our main switchboard. So what this controls is all of our pumps, our nozzles, our solenoids, and our overrides for the smart fill. And then here we have our fill pipe. So when the tankers come along, all they'll do is they'll unload their fuel into our fuel tank. Here we have our FE Petro smart controller for our submersible pump. Over here we have our pulse meters, so we can display how much fuel in litres is being dispensed. So here we have our pipework for our diesel and our AdBlue. We have 4 lines for our 4 diesel nozzles and 2 lines for our AdBlue. As someone comes along and picks up the nozzle, it'll go back to the control board and send information to turn on the solenoid valve, which will then dispense fuel through that outlet. So the way the fuel runs through the tank, it will come through this pipework, it'll run through your pulse meter and your solenoid valves, out through our manifold here, and will go out to the nozzles.
Back in our Go lab, we have the ability to laser etch compliance plates like you see here for CEA Petroleum, which features date of manufacture, serial number, and it also has a QR code for asset management. Additionally, we also have a large format printer, which we're able to custom print our own support decals. If Centurion have any issues on site whatsoever with their fuel, they can scan the QR code and get in touch with our help desk and our support team, and we'll make sure that they get looked after straight away. So behind me, we have a freshly installed 10,000 litre AdBlue tank that was supplied by Centurion. We've fitted an isolation switch to it in case we have to shut it off for safety purposes. We've included manual ball valves and overrides also for the fill point, as well as up the top to where it connects to our containerised tank. This is all plumbed in and now functioning. They'll be able to use the AdBlue dispensers underneath the canopy just over here to my left. We have a very beautiful, neat array here of 316 stainless steel press fit pipework, which is feeding our 4 high flow 150 litre per minute diesel nozzles, as well as our 2 AdBlue nozzles. This pipework runs from the containerised tank over here on the slab, up into the roof, through the awning and down to our different dispensing points. And I'm pretty biased, but I reckon it's one of the best jobs that we've done so far. Compliance is our best friend, so we have plenty of compliance decals all the way through the system, which also helps for any type of user operation, knowing what is what. So here you can see we've got our 2 diesel, the extra 2, as well as our AdBlue, and all the right stat decals that we need on this containerised tank to understand the risks and the dangers of operating a diesel facility like this. We always love to work in closely with our customers, and in this case, Centurion has asked us to install their supplied automatic tank gauge, which is the Everlink system here. We're also using the Smart Fill fuel management system for this facility, which is consistent across all of Centurion's transport yards. So we've run our diesel pipework and cable across the gantry and down into the main dispensing points, this is where your trucks will be able to pull up on either side. Operator will have access to both sides of this awning. These are our ZVA 32 1¼ inch high flow diesel nozzles capable of dispensing up to 150 litres a minute, which means our Centurion operators will not be standing around for long to refill their trucks. It's kept at home and safe in our 304 stainless steel dispensing module, and we also have our Sankey nozzle holster, which has an activation switch as soon as you pull the nozzle out for operation. That'll trigger the pumps on inside of the tank, and the pipework will do its thing as explained in the last section of this video. Here we have our nozzle stands, which have been fabricated to have our hose bun hose hangers at the very top. This is to keep our diesel hose off the ground to avoid any trip risks, as well as running over the hose. That's an expensive and dangerous exercise. The hose bun keeps it neatly stored up and away from operators. Here's our two AdBlue dispensing points. Much the same, we have the Sankey nozzle holsters, which has the cutoff switch. Again, as you pull out the nozzle, it'll activate the pumps, and we can dispense AdBlue into these trucks. Bit smaller of a nozzle, don't need as high flow rate as the diesel nozzles, but still super neat and super accessible for drivers on either side of the awning. Last but not least, here's the Smart Fill fluids management system that Centurion used to operate their fleet. This will give them data on how much diesel and AdBlue has been dispensed, to which driver, to which truck. So asset identification helps reconcile fuel costs at the end of the period, and it minimises risks of things like fuel theft happening. You have to activate your driver fob in order to actually dispense diesel or AdBlue, so that's an awesome control to have on site. We've put the system in which speaks to the automatic tank gauge that Centurion have also provided to make this a seamless and complete fuel dispensing solution. Safety is absolutely everything, and in order to provide this turnkey solution, we've supplied things like fire extinguishers, safety bollards, as well as bollards near the tank. That's also not to mention the spill kits, which will be close by to the dispensing points in the case of a diesel or an AdBlue spill. So what does the site installation process involve? Firstly, it's scoping out the site. Paul and I visited the site many months ago and had a key look at where we'd put the tank, where we'd run pipe work, have a look at what infrastructure was available, and get a really good understanding of the client expectation. Once the site inspection's done, we put together a design and our plan to meet the customer's expectations. Once we've got a green light, we bring everything into our Queensland workshop, and our operations and our value add team work very closely together to design a system that not only is going to make sense for us, but also makes sense in application for the users. Once we get close to project delivery, we organise transport for the main tank, get it positioned on site, and then our site team rolls in to get the rest of the job done. When the project's coming towards the end, which we'll see very soon, we're about 80% of the way through this job, we include our client and the users to get their head around the system with the one-on-one training that we provide, making them aware of any troubleshooting issues that may arise, and also giving them the tips and tricks on how to get the most out of their home-based refueling facility. We understand better than anyone that downtime is a massive cost to the business, particularly for fuel infrastructure that might be running a transport fleet, like here at Centurion. So what type of service and support is available? We've put together a dedicated site team that can travel and is based nationwide. If you have a breakdown on site, the guys can get anywhere in Australia pretty quickly and get you back up and running. The best way to avoid these types of breakdowns is to jump on one of our preventative maintenance programs, which we offer services every 6 or 12 months. The guys are highly experienced electrically and mechanically for any of your home-based refueling facilities, and we'll make sure that they're running in tip-top condition. Back at base, we also have a dedicated help desk support team. We have our own fuel management or fluids management system that we call iFuel. The guys are always ready to answer a call, text or email to diagnose any potential issues and also give you that one-on-one troubleshooting support that you'd expect. So that's the lowdown on this bulk home-based refueling facility for Centurion Transport here in Richlands. We're just finishing off with some wet testing, and we'll have the entire Centurion crew based here coming through for some training, hands-on demonstration on how to use and get the most out of their new fuel facility. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have a requirement for a facility like this, reach out to the team, get in touch, and we're more than happy to come check out your site. Catch you in the next one.